The diplomatic disaster Marcus Chon had always prided himself on being prepared for anything. As Earth's newest diplomatic attaché aboard the starship Meridian, he'd studied every known alien species, memorized their customs, and practiced formal greetings in 17 different languages. What he hadn't prepared for was accidentally proposing marriage to a 7-foot-tall alien warrior princess while trying to complement her combat skills. The day started normally enough. The Meridian was hosting peace talks between Earth and the Vorthek Empire, a militaristic species known for their honor-based society and impressive battle prowess. Marcus had been assigned as a junior observer, mainly there to take notes and try not to embarrass the human race. The Vorthek delegation had arrived 3 hours earlier, their massive transport ship docking with the kind of precision that made even seasoned pilots. Jealous Commander Thera Vexzerek led the Vorthek delegation, and Marcus found himself staring. Despite his best efforts at professionalism, she stood nearly 7 feet tall, her muscular frame encased in ornate battle armor that seemed to shimmer with its own internal light. Her skin was a deep blue-gray, marked with intricate silver tattoos that spiraled across her arms and face. Most striking were her eyes, a brilliant amber that seemed to glow with inner fire. The negotiations had been going smoothly until Marcus made his fatal mistake. During a brief recess, he'd approached Commander Vexzerek to offer her refreshments. She'd been adjusting her armor's shoulder plates, and Marcus, trying to make small talk, had commented on the craftsmanship. "Your armor is absolutely incredible," he'd said, his voice carrying more admiration than he'd intended. "It's like you're wearing liquid starlight. You must be incredibly skilled to have earned such beautiful protection." What Marcus didn't know was that in Vorthek culture, complimenting a warrior's armor while they were adjusting it was equivalent to proposing marriage. The intricate armor pieces were considered sacred, and only potential life partners were allowed to comment on their beauty during the vulnerable moment of adjustment. Commander Vexzerek had frozen mid-motion, her amber eyes widening as she processed his words. The other Vorthek delegates fell silent, their expressions shifting from casual attention to stunned amazement. Even the ship's AI seemed to pause, its usual background humming growing noticeably quieter. "You honor me with your proposal, young human," Commander Vexzerek said, her voice carrying a formal tone that made Marcus's blood run cold. "I accept your challenge of courtship according to the ancient ways." Before Marcus could process what was happening, the commander began removing her armor with practiced efficiency. Each piece hit the deck with a resonant clang that seemed to echo through the entire ship. Marcus watched in horror as the ornate breastplate, shoulder guards, and gauntlets were systematically removed and placed in a perfect circle around where he stood. "Commander," Captain Rivera interrupted, stepping forward with obvious concern, "perhaps there's been a misunderstanding." "There is no misunderstanding," the Vorthek lieutenant declared, his voice carrying absolute certainty. "The human has initiated the ritual of bonding. To interrupt now would be a grave insult to both our peoples." Marcus felt his knees go weak as the reality of his situation sank in. He'd somehow triggered an alien mating ritual by trying to be polite. The diplomatic career he'd dreamed of since childhood was about to end in spectacular failure. And he hadn't even been on the job for a full day. The ritual begins, the transformation of Commander Vexzerek from imposing military leader to whatever she was becoming left Marcus speechless. Without her armor, she moved with a fluid grace that was somehow more intimidating than her previous militant bearing. Her silver tattoos seemed to pulse with their own rhythm, and Marcus noticed. They formed patterns that hurt to look at directly. "The ritual of bonding has 3 phases, she explained, her voice taking on a ceremonial cadence. "First, the displaying of vulnerability, which you have witnessed. Second, the sharing of essence, where we exchange life force to determine compatibility. Third, the trial of unity, where we face a challenge together. Marcus looked around desperately for support, but Captain Rivera was frantically consulting her datapad while the ship's AI provided increasingly unhelpful commentary. Cultural database incomplete, the AI announced cheerfully. Recommend improvisation and prayer to deities of choice. I really don't think I'm qualified for this, Marcus stammered, his voice cracking slightly. I mean, I just graduated from the academy last month. I've never even been on a second date, let alone participated in an alien bonding ritual. Commander Vex Zarek tilted her head, studying him with those unsettling amber eyes. Your humility is refreshing. Most warriors who initiate the ritual do so with great arrogance. Your nervousness suggests genuine respect for the process. She reached into her remaining garments and produced a crystalline vial filled with what looked like liquid moonlight. This is Vorthic essence, she explained. It will allow our life forces to mingle temporarily. If we are compatible, you will experience enhanced perception and strength. If we are not. She paused meaningfully. If we're not compatible? Marcus prompted, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Spontaneous combustion, the lieutenant supplied helpfully. Very spectacular, but mercifully brief. Captain Rivera stepped forward again. Commander Vex Zarek, surely there's some way to resolve this misunderstanding without risking my crew member's life. The ritual, once begun, cannot be abandoned without severe consequences, the commander replied firmly. To do so would brand the human as a coward and make him unsuitable for any future diplomatic contact with our people. It would also reflect poorly on your species' honor. Marcus felt the weight of Earth's diplomatic future settling on his shoulders. One careless compliment had somehow put him in a position where backing down would damage human-Vorthic relations. For generations. He looked at the crystalline vial, then at Commander Vex Zarek's expectant expression. What exactly happens during the sharing of essence? He asked, surprised by how steady his voice sounded. We each drink half the vial, she explained. The essence will create a temporary telepathic link between us. If our minds are compatible, we will experience shared consciousness for approximately 1 hour. If not, she gestured vaguely, and Marcus decided he didn't need her to finish that sentence. The other Vorthic delegates had formed a circle around them, their expressions ranging from solemn to what Marcus suspected was barely contained excitement. One of them was definitely recording the proceedings on some kind of crystalline device. This is going to be on the Galactic News Network, isn't it? Marcus asked weakly. Only if you survive, the lieutenant replied, with what might have been encouragement. Commander Vex Zarek held out the vial, its contents swirling with patterns that seemed to move independently of the liquid's motion. Are you prepared to proceed, Marcus Chon of Earth? Marcus took a deep breath, thinking of his dreams of diplomatic service, of representing humanity among the stars, of making a difference in the galaxy. He'd wanted adventure and challenge. Well, he'd certainly gotten both. I'm as ready as I'll ever be, he said, reaching for the vial. But if I don't survive this, I want it on record that I was just trying to be polite. The essence exchange. The liquid tasted like lightning, mixed with honey. If lightning could somehow be sweet and honey could conduct electricity. Marcus felt it burning a path down his throat, spreading warmth through his chest before exploding into his nervous system like liquid fire. His vision blurred, then sharpened to an impossible degree. He could see individual dust motes floating in the air, could hear the subtle harmonics in the ship's engine that he'd never noticed before. Commander. Vex Zarek drank her portion with practiced ease, though Marcus noticed her amber eyes began to glow more brightly. The moment she swallowed, the world exploded into sensation. Can you hear me? Her voice appeared directly in his mind, carrying undertones of curiosity and what felt like amusement. The link is established. Marcus tried to respond, and found that, thinking his reply was enough. This is incredible. I can feel your thoughts, your emotions. You're amused by this whole situation? I find your terror endearing, she replied, and he could sense her mental laughter. Most warriors approach the ritual with overconfidence. Your honest fear shows wisdom. Through their link, Marcus began to perceive the world through Vorthic's senses. Colors became more vivid, sounds carried layers of meaning he'd never imagined, and he could smell the emotional states of everyone in the room. Captain Rivera radiated stress and confusion, while the Vorthic delegates projected excited anticipation. This is what you experience all the time? He asked, marveling at the sensory richness. This is a diluted version, Vex Zarek replied. Full Vorthic perception would overwhelm your nervous system. The essence creates a bridge between our capabilities, but the mental link carried more than enhanced senses. Marcus found himself experiencing fragments of Vex Zarek's memories and emotions. He saw glimpses of her childhood on a world of crystal spires and crimson skies, felt the weight of command responsibility she carried, and surprisingly, sensed her genuine loneliness despite being surrounded by loyal warriors. You're lonely, he thought before he could stop himself. Command is isolating, she replied, her mental voice carrying a vulnerability he hadn't expected. Few dare to approach me as anything other than a superior officer. When you complimented my armor, you spoke to me as an equal, not as a subordinate. Through the link, Marcus felt her surprise at his unguarded emotional responses. Where Vorthic warriors were trained to control their feelings, Marcus wore his heart openly. His nervousness, his genuine concern for others, his determination to do the right thing despite his fear, all of it was visible to her enhanced perception. You're not what I expected from a human diplomat, she observed. I'm not really a diplomat, Marcus admitted. I'm just someone who wanted to help bridge the gap between species. I thought maybe if I could understand different cultures, I could help prevent conflicts. And instead, you've started a bonding ritual with a warrior princess, she replied. Her? Mental laughter warming the link between them. When you put it that way, it sounds like the setup for a bad joke, Marcus thought, then paused as he sensed something else through their connection. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Perhaps, she admitted. It has been years since anyone has surprised me. You continue to do so. The hour of shared consciousness passed more quickly than Marcus had expected. As the essence's effects began to fade, he found himself reluctant to lose the connection. Through Vex Zarek's mind, he'd experienced a broader perspective on the galaxy, understanding conflicts and relationships between species in ways no textbook could have taught him. The link is weakening, she observed as their mental voices grew fainter. But we have proven compatibility. A final phase awaits. As his enhanced senses returned to normal, Marcus felt oddly diminished, as if he'd been seeing the world in full color and was now restricted to black and white. But something had changed between them. The formal distance was gone, replaced by understanding that transcended species differences. The trial of unity, Commander Vex Zarek announced aloud, her voice carrying new warmth. We must face a challenge together, demonstrating our ability to work as one. Captain Rivera stepped forward, her expression a mixture of relief and continued worry. What kind of challenge? That depends on what the universe provides, the commander replied cryptically. The trial cannot be planned or predicted. We must wait for. The ship's emergency klaxons suddenly blared to life, cutting off her words. Red lights flashed throughout the corridor as the AI's voice filled the air with urgent warnings. All hands to battle stations. Unknown vessels approaching at high velocity. Configuration suggests hostile intent. Marcus looked at Commander Vex Zarek, who was already reaching for her armor. I guess the universe just provided our challenge. The unity, Trial the bridge of the Meridian had transformed into a hive of controlled chaos. Officers rushed between stations as tactical displays showed 3 massive ships approaching from the edge of the system. Marcus stood beside Commander Vex Zarek, who had partially rearmed herself with the essential pieces of her battle gear, her amber eyes studying the tactical readouts with professional intensity. Zephyrian raiders, she identified. Grimly. They're scavengers who prey on diplomatic vessels, believing them to be lightly armed and carrying valuable trade goods. Captain Rivera coordinated the ship's defenses while keeping one eye on the unlikely pair. Our weapons are primarily defensive. We're not equipped for a sustained battle against 3 ships of that size. The Meridian is fast, but not faster than Zephyrian interceptors, Commander Vex Zarek observed. They will attempt to disable our engines and board us. Marcus felt his stomach drop as he realized the implications. This is the trial, isn't it? We have to work together to get everyone out of this. The universe has a sense of irony, she agreed. But perhaps this is fitting. A diplomat and a warrior finding common ground in the face of a mutual threat. The first wave of enemy fire struck the ship's shields, causing the lights to flicker. Through the viewport, Marcus could see the distinctive curved hulls of the Zephyrian vessels, their hulls bristling with weapons that looked like they'd been salvaged from a dozen different species. Their tactics are predictable, Commander Vex Zarek said, moving to a secondary tactical station. They will try to overwhelm our shields with concentrated fire, then use boarding pods to capture the ship intact. Can we outrun them? Marcus asked. Not with their current positioning, Captain Rivera replied. They've boxed us in against the asteroid field. Marcus studied the tactical display, his mind racing. The enhanced perception from the essence exchange had faded, but something of its clarity remained. He could see patterns in the enemy movement, predict their likely approaches based on the limited tactical training he'd received at the academy. What if we don't try to outrun them? He suggested, what if we use the asteroid field as cover? Commander. Vex Zarek turned to look at him with interest. The field is dense and unstable. Navigation would be extremely hazardous. But you said the Zephyrians are scavengers, Marcus continued, his confidence growing. They want the ship intact. They won't follow us into the field if there's a significant risk of losing their prize. The young human makes a valid point, the Vorthic lieutenant said. But piloting through that field would require extraordinary skill. Captain Rivera was already shaking her head. Our navigational systems aren't designed for that kind of precision flying. The gravitational anomalies alone would tear us apart. Unless we had enhanced sensory input, Marcus said, looking directly at Commander Vex Zarek. The essence exchange created a temporary link between us. What if we could recreate that connection? Dangerous, she replied, but her expression showed she was considering the possibility. The essence is powerful, but using it twice in rapid succession could cause permanent neurological damage. Another blast rocked the ship, and sparks flew from an overloaded console. Shields at 60%, the tactical officer reported. They're concentrating fire on our port side. We need to decide quickly, Captain Rivera said. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now. Marcus felt the weight of everyone's stares. The diplomatic mission he dreamed of had become a life-or-death situation where his untested ideas might be their only hope. He looked at Commander Vex Zarek, seeing not just an alien warrior, but a partner who had shared her very thoughts with him. I trust you, he said simply. If you think we can make this work, I'm willing to try. She studied his face for a long moment, then nodded decisively. Very well, but this time the connection will be deeper and more dangerous. Are you prepared for that? I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to protect this ship and crew, Marcus replied. Commander Vex Zarek produced another vial from her equipment, this one containing a deeper, more intense version of the essence. "This is battle essence," she explained. "It will link our nervous systems directly, allowing us to share reflexes and perception in real time. But the strain on human physiology could kill me," Marcus finished. "I understand. Not just kill you," she corrected. "It could fundamentally alter your neural pathways, making you something between human and Vorthic. You would never be entirely human again." The new alliance, the battle essence, created a connection unlike anything Marcus had experienced. His consciousness didn't just touch Commander Vex Zarek's mind. It merged with it, creating a hybrid awareness that was both human and Vorthic. Through her enhanced senses, he could perceive the exact trajectory of every asteroid in the field, feel the gravitational currents that would either guide them to safety or tear their ship apart. Now, their combined consciousness directed, and Captain Rivera engaged the engines, diving the Meridian into the asteroid field with a precision that should have been impossible. Marcus found himself at the navigation console, his hands moving with Vorthic battle-trained reflexes, while his human intuition guided their path through the chaos. He could feel every gravitational anomaly, predict the movement of debris fields, and calculate flight paths that existed in the narrow spaces between certain destruction. Behind them, the Zephyrian raiders had initially followed, but quickly fell back as the asteroid field's hazards became apparent. Their weapons' fire became sporadic and ineffective as the dense rock formations provided natural shielding. They're retreating, Commander Vex Zarek observed through their link. "But we're not safe yet. The field's core contains gravitational anomalies. That could crush the ship, Dot. Then we go around," Marcus replied, his enhanced perception showing him a path that spiraled along the field's edge. "We use the gravitational currents like a slingshot, building speed while staying protected." The maneuver was impossibly complex, requiring split-second timing and perfect coordination between pilot and navigator. But with their minds linked, Marcus and Commander Vex Zarek functioned as a single entity. Human creativity merged with Vorthic precision, Dot, as they emerged from the far side of the asteroid field. Traveling at nearly twice their normal maximum speed, the Zephyrian raiders were nowhere to be seen. The Meridian had not only escaped, but had done so in a way that would be studied in tactical academies for decades. "Incredible," Captain Rivera breathed, staring at the navigation blot. "I've never seen flying like that." But Marcus barely heard her. The battle essence was beginning to fade, and he could feel the connection with Commander Vex Zarek weakening. As their minds separated, he experienced a profound sense of loss, as if he was losing a part of himself. "The trial is complete," she said as their mental link became a whisper. "We have proven that cooperation between our species is not only possible, but powerful beyond measure. Dot, as the essence's effects fully dissipated, Marcus found himself changed in ways he was only beginning to understand. His vision remained sharper than normal, his reflexes quicker, and his understanding of spatial relationships fundamentally altered. But more than the physical changes, he felt a deep connection to something larger than himself. "The ritual of bonding is complete," Commander Vex Zarek announced to the assembled crew. "Marcus Chon of Earth has proven himself worthy of the bond. He is now considered family to the Vorthic people. Does that mean you're married?" "Captain," Rivera asked, her voice carefully neutral. "It means we are partners," the commander replied, "bonded in purpose and understanding. What humans might call marriage is only one possible expression of such a bond." Marcus looked at her, seeing not just the warrior who had terrified him hours earlier, but someone who had literally shared her soul with him. "What happens now?" "Now you have a choice," she said. "You can return to your human life, carrying the bond as a connection between our peoples. Or you can join me in exploring what this new alliance might become." Before Marcus could answer, the ship's communication system crackled to life. "This is Admiral Harrison of the Earth Defense Force. we've received reports of a successful first contact that prevented an incident with Zephyrian raiders. Outstanding work, Meridian. Captain Rivera activated the cone. Thank you, Admiral. I think we may have established something more significant than first contact. Indeed, Commander. Vex Zarek added. The Vorthic Empire is prepared to formalize an alliance with Earth, with Marcus Chon serving as our primary liaison. Marcus felt his heart racing as he realized the implications. His accidental proposal had not only avoided a diplomatic disaster, but had created an unprecedented opportunity for cooperation between species. I accept, he said, his voice carrying new confidence, both the liaison position and the bond. I think humanity and the Vorthic Empire have a lot to learn from each other. As the Meridian set course for Earth, Marcus stood beside his new partner, looking out at the stars that no longer seemed like distant lights, but like destinations waiting to be explored. His simple attempt at politeness had accidentally triggered a chain of events that would reshape relations between species, and he found himself eager to see what other misunderstandings might lead to miraculous discoveries. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all.